I've always been a skeptic, but what I encountered was beyond strange and has left me questioning reality. Picture this. It was an average Tuesday, nothing out of the ordinary, until I walked into my living room and saw myself. Yes, you heard right. I saw myself sitting on the couch watching the television. I stood there frozen in shock as I watched myself flip through the channels. Now I know what you're thinking. It was probably just a reflection or a trick of the light, but it wasn't. I could see the details of my clothes, the way my hair fell over my eyes. It was me, no doubt about it. And the strangest part, the other me didn't seem surprised to see me at all. He or I just glanced up, gave a nod, and went back to watching TV. I stumbled backwards, my mind racing. Was I dreaming? Was I going crazy? Or was this, as some suggest, a glitch in the matrix? A slip between dimensions, a peek into a parallel universe where another version of me exists? I tried to approach, to speak, to make sense of what I was seeing. But as I moved closer, the other me simply faded away, like smoke dissolving into the air. Just like that, he was gone. And I was alone in my living room again, left with nothing but questions and a pounding heart. I've scoured the internet looking for answers. I've found stories, theories, explanations ranging from the scientific to the supernatural. Some say it was a hallucination, others suggest it was a vision of a parallel universe. But none of these explanations truly satisfy me. I don't know what I saw that day. All I know is that it's changed the way I see the world. It's opened my mind to possibilities I never considered before. I no longer dismiss the unexplained so easily. After all, who's to say what's real and what's not? As I sat there, trembling in disbelief, I couldn't help but wonder, was this a glimpse into a parallel universe? Before we dive deeper into these mind-bending stories, I want to take a moment to connect with you all. Every comment, like, and share makes our community stronger. To those of you who have already subscribed, thank you for being part of our journey and for your incredible support. We are currently on a mission to reach a milestone of 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. By subscribing, you're not just joining a YouTube channel, but a community of people fascinated by the extraordinary. If you find value in what we do, please consider giving us a thumbs up, sharing our videos, or telling a friend about us. Your support helps us bring these intricate narratives to life, explore the mysteries of the world, and connect with thousands of others who share our curiosity. Your support makes these stories come alive. Thank you for being part of our journey. There are moments in life when you feel you're not alone, even when there's no one around. This is my experience. Picture this, a regular Tuesday evening, I'm sitting in my living room engrossed in a book. Then out of nowhere, I sense a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere. It feels as though someone else is there with me. I look around, but there's no one. I shake off the feeling, attributing it to my overactive imagination. Fast forward to a few days later, I'm in the kitchen making dinner. Suddenly, I hear the faintest whisper as if someone just spoke. I freeze, heart pounding, as I strain to listen, but the house is silent. Again, I'm alone. Over the next few weeks, these incidents keep recurring. I feel a presence, an unseen companion. It's not threatening or malevolent, just there. I start to question my sanity. Am I hallucinating? Is this the onset of some neurological condition? I'm at my wit's end. One day I stumble upon a subreddit that discusses glitches in the matrix, parallel worlds, and alternate realities. I read about experiences eerily similar to mine. people feeling companionship in solitude, hearing whispers when alone, sensing someone else's presence. I'm not alone in my experiences, it seems. This revelation leads me down a rabbit hole of theories about parallel universes and alternate realities. Could it be that I'm experiencing the presence of an entity from a different reality, an unseen companion that exists, but in a world that's not quite ours? The more I explore these theories, the more they seem plausible. After all, the universe is vast and mysterious. Who am I to say that there aren't other realities coexisting with ours? Perhaps this unseen companion of mine is just a being from one such reality, unintentionally crossing paths with me. This experience has opened my mind to possibilities I had never considered before. It's eerie, yes, but it's also incredibly fascinating. It's made me question the nature of our reality and how much of it we truly understand. Did I really have an invisible companion, or was it just my mind playing tricks on me? Your thoughts and comments add so much to these stories. Here are some that stood out. User Sunlit Shadow shared, "This reminds me of a theory about parallel universes. Maybe you tapped into a frequency of another version of yourself." An interesting take, don't you think? Then we have Clockwork Orchid, who mused, "Could it be a form of astral projection? Seems like your mind was somewhere else while your body stayed put." A fascinating idea indeed. Our third comment comes from user Quantum Leapfrog, who suggested, "Perhaps it's a time slip, a momentary glitch that allowed you to experience another timeline." A thought-provoking possibility. Finally, Night Sky Wanderer chimed in with, "This story is eerily relatable. I've had similar experiences that I can't explain. It appears that these experiences are more common than we might think. Your insights and theories truly enrich these experiences. Keep them coming. Imagine meeting yourself. Sounds impossible, right?" Well, that's exactly what happened to me. One ordinary day, I was strolling through my local park when I spotted a familiar figure sitting on a bench. As I got closer, I realized to my utter shock it was me. Not a look-alike, not a twin, but me, down to the last freckle and the same worn-out sneakers I was wearing. The doppelganger didn't seem surprised at all. In fact, he greeted me with a knowing smile, as if he'd been waiting for this encounter. We started talking, and the more we conversed, the more I realized he knew things only I could know. He talked about my childhood memories, my secret fears, my dreams. It was like talking to a mirror that could talk back. But here's where things got really strange. He began to speak about events that hadn't happened yet, at least not in my timeline. He spoke of a future job, a move to another city, even a pet I was yet to adopt. It was as if he was me, but from a parallel universe where time moved at a different pace. Was this a hallucination, a dream? Or had I somehow come face to face with a version of myself from a parallel world? I couldn't tell. The only thing I knew for certain was the uncanny feeling of familiarity, the chilling realization that I was looking at myself from an outsider's perspective. Before I could ask more questions, he stood up, gave me a nod, and simply walked away. I tried to follow, but he disappeared as mysteriously as he had appeared. I was left standing there in the middle of the park with more questions than answers. This encounter with my double left me questioning the very fabric of reality. It was a chilling reminder that there's so much about the universe we don't understand. Maybe there are parallel worlds out there, and maybe, just maybe, they're closer than we think. Let's dive into your thoughts and theories about the Doppelgänger Incident. We've heard from 4 insightful Reddit users who've shared their unique perspectives. First off, we have a user who suggests that our protagonist may have experienced a temporal glitch, a hiccup in time that allowed them to cross paths with their future self. Fascinating, isn't it? Next, we have a comment that delves into quantum physics, speculating that our protagonist momentarily slipped into a parallel universe where they met their doppelganger. Quite a mind-bending theory. Our third user offers a psychological explanation, suggesting this could be a case of autoscopy, where one hallucinates their own image. Finally, we have a comment that entertains the idea of spiritual intervention. Could this doppelganger be a guardian angel or spirit guide? Your comments are a testament to the diverse perspectives and theories that make these discussions so enriching. These experiences, as bizarre as they may seem, have one thing in common: they challenge our understanding of reality. In this captivating journey, we've delved into stories of unseen companions and doppelgangers, tales that blur the lines between our world and potential parallel universes. We've navigated the murky waters of inexplicable events, where the ordinary twists into the extraordinary, leaving us questioning our perception of the world around us. We've also heard from the Reddit community, providing their insights and interpretations, further adding layers of depth to these enigmatic narratives. These accounts, while they might defy logic and reason, invite us to broaden our horizons, to consider possibilities beyond our conventional understanding. Whether these glitches in the Matrix are real or imagined, they certainly make our world a much more fascinating place. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.
Hi, this is Kristen with Weird Reddit 111. I do hope you've enjoyed today's stories. The last story I'm going to read myself is from Larell 14, might be pronouncing that wrong. I'm convinced my parallel universe self was speaking to my family. This story took place about 5 years ago, and every single word of it is 100% true. To this day, my family and I still can't explain what happened. My mom, dad, and 2 sisters went on a family trip across Europe. I stayed home with my husband and 12-month-old baby. It's 3 a.m. in the morning and my phone's ringing. It's my dad. I'm thinking, that's weird. Dad usually aware of what time it is here when he calls. Maybe he doesn't realize. So I ignore it. My phone rings again. Now, I'm thinking, it's somewhat urgent and I should answer. But it rings out before I can pick it up. I then notice I have a dozen missed calls from both mom and dad and my sisters. I also have a heap of messages, so now I'm wide awake and thinking the absolute worst. I open up the text message and they are all along the lines of, everything will be okay. We are going to get the next flight home to be with you. Stay strong. We love you. I'm thinking, what the fuck are you on about? Like, for real, y'all. Like, out of our mind. What's going on? My phone rings again and I answer straight away. What the hell is going on, Dad? What do all those text messages mean? Now, it takes a lot to make my dad concerned. On the phone, he's really concerned and trying to keep his shit together. Through gritted teeth and his voice shaking, he said, I've just been on the phone with you for an hour. What do you mean, what's going on? I'm completely dumbfounded. I went to bed at 10 p.m. and I've been fast asleep up until now. The last time I spoke with my parents was 3 days ago. How could I possibly been on the phone with my dad for the last hour? I tell him he must be confused. I've been asleep and definitely didn't make any calls. Don't play games with me, little girl, my dad almost shouts. I've been on the phone with you for the last hour consoling you because you just found out you're pregnant and your husband has left you. What? At this point, my husband has woken up all to the commotion and asked what's going on. Dad, what are you talking about? My husband's right here, asleep, next to me. He hasn't walked out on me, and I'm definitely not pregnant. Dad's angry now. He's telling me to stop bullshitting him and that this isn't funny. He's demanding I tell him the truth. Asking if both me and my son are okay and do I know where my husband has gone. At this point, I'm thinking I've been sleep talking. I've somehow called my dad in my sleep, told him this ridiculous story. Husband doesn't believe it, saying he wouldn't have woken up to me crying on the phone. He would have woken up to me crying on the phone to my dad if I had in fact done that in my sleep. I tell my dad to hang on one moment while I check if I made any calls to him. I look through my phone log, and apart from multiple missed calls, I haven't made any calls to my dad or family for that matter. The last phone call I received was 3 days ago. I checked my husband's phone in case I somehow clambered over him and used his phone to make the ridiculous phone call. Nope, nothing there. Dad, I just checked my phone. I haven't made any calls to you. I've asked if caller ID showed up when I called him. He said he can't remember it, so he checked. A minute later, he says, it says unknown. I haven't received any calls from your phone number. My dad is suspicious now, thinking, who the hell did he just speak to? My bewilderment turns to anger. Has someone pranked my dad? Who would make up such a story and upset my whole family? My dad denies it, saying he knows my voice and says it was definitely me. Even my sister got on the phone and said she was there the whole time, talking with me while I was in hysterics on the phone. She said that I had told him and everyone my husband got angry and walked out on me when I told him I was pregnant. I didn't know where he went. He wasn't answering my calls. I said I was scared to be home by myself with my son, so I went to stay with a friend. My sister said she could hear my friend in the background, but I wouldn't tell them which friend I was staying with. When they asked, Dad asked me why didn't I go to his house as I still have the key, and said I didn't want to because of their family friend who was staying there, which was a true piece of information. My mom and dad had a family friend staying with them for a few months and was looking after the house while they were traveling. My sister said eventually I calmed down and said I had to go as I didn't want to keep my friend awake any longer. I said I have to go to work the next day and need to cancel my dentist appointment. Another piece of information, I was in fact called into work the following day and had told my husband the night before I need to cancel my dentist appointment. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And at the same time, my family couldn't believe that I was telling them otherwise. I had to take a photo of me and my husband to prove to them everything was fine and none of that happened. We stayed on the phone with each other till 6 a.m. in the morning, me convincing them that they definitely do not have to get on the next flight home. No one could make any sense of what happened. My dad and my family still didn't 100% believe me until they got home from Europe and saw me in the flesh. We speak about it every now and again, and I always ask my dad and sister to tell me again and again exactly what I said to them over the phone, finding it fascinating and terrifying at the same time. My dad doesn't like talking about it. He just shakes his head and says, I don't know what to believe. And I don't blame him either. What he and my family heard was real. They were really on the phone with me and were all devastated at what I was telling them, ready to jump onto the next flight home, telling me to stay strong. Imagine being told 15 minutes later by the real me that I had no idea what they're talking about. And so that lies the end of our story. I want to look at a few of the comments. So we have one top rated comment from Far Cry Free. Here's my take on it. Someone called your dad, acted as if they were you in order to get him to send you money because your husband had left you, now need money to go to the doctor or whatever the story scammer had to make up to get your family to wire cash. Perhaps they had listened to you or knew some of the details to convince your family that it was really you. You mentioned the caller was hysterical on the phone. This would make it easier to hide your true voice. The scam plays on emotion. I've heard scammers calling elderly parents, grandparents with stories that you are in prison or need a bribe money wire. This sounds similar. The odd part is that it doesn't sound like money was requested. I thought similar too. Well, let me start off by saying this is a response from OP. I thought a similar thing too. Hence, I started getting angry when I realized it definitely wasn't me who spoke with my family. The only other possibility was that it was someone pretending to be me. But when my sister was telling me that all the things that I had said to them, there were multiple bits of information that no one else would have known, unless I had an intruder hiding behind my couch for a few days. For instance, no one knew I had a dentist appointment booked that I needed to cancel. Apart from the dentist lady herself, it's not something I told anyone about because, quite frankly, it's boring. It's a boring piece of information. If someone was pretending to be me, I honestly don't believe they would have known certain things about my life. That freaked me out. In terms of sounding like me, I said to my dad, I wouldn't be surprised if he did mistake me for someone else. You know, older age and hearing is not as good. Grandparent shaming. I'm just going to put that out there. That's when my sister piped in and said when I was on the phone call initially happened, she was in the other room. She came racing in, took the phone from my dad and started speaking with me. She promised, crossed her fingers and toes that it was 100% me on the phone. Even when I stopped crying and talking normal, the voice was me. At this point, my dad had got a hold of my mom and other sister who were out shopping at the time. They raced back to the hotel and my mom spoke with me for a while too. All four of them were dead serious. It was my voice. Imagine that, y'all. One commenter says, and this is from Kathy_induce, it was kind of a good scenario for a scam. Family far away on a long trip in a different time zone. What would have happened if OP didn't hear her phone and didn't communicate with her parents until morning? Maybe they would have been out of some money by then. If it was a scam, it's a really scary that they knew that many details about your life. Yeah, very scary. I don't think this is a scam though. That's me speaking, Kristen from Weird Reddit. Next comment is from ETTAS Keta. I'm more concerned about why your parallel husband would leave you. Is he a jerk in that universe? Or is this revealing a trait of your husband in this universe? OP responds, haha, no shit. Safe to say I fell pregnant with my second child 6 months later and my husband didn't leave me. My sister were quite amused though, saying their premonition was coming true. Oh, that's a little inside joke for me. But, you know, guys, this was what OP said. And, you know, what do you think, guys? Was it her husband? Did her husband just think to himself, well, since they already had a premonition that I'm a piece of shit, and I know that this is going to turn their entire family against me, best I leave the pregnant lady alone. You know? And let's go for a bonus story. This story is from a deleted commenter. It is no name. 6 years ago. These stories are from 6 years ago. Gotta go deep dive to find these stories. I actually had a similar experience with my wife. Although my conversation was much shorter, I believe in parallel universes. So it wasn't hard for me to believe. So anyway, one day I called her because I knew she would be home from work soon, and I asked her where she was at. Her reply was, I'm in the neighborhood about to pull into the driveway. So I was like, okay, I love you. See you in a second. Anyway, I get busy with something in the house and realize it's been like 10 minutes. So I call her and ask her where she was. And I said, I thought you were pulling in. She said, I didn't even, she said, oh, wait, no, let me start over. She said she didn't even talk to me at all. After just a couple of times of her saying that she didn't talk to me and that she left work late, I believe it. I obviously found it strange, but we have 3 kids and I didn't have the time to argue about supernatural shit anyway. I am sure there was a call from another dimension or universe that you experienced, and I know for a fact that I have. And the last commenter says, that's freaking crazy. Reading this gave me the chills. By the way, I can't even imagine what the cost of the phone bills were. Then we got our jokesters. Another commenter, like, it looks like most of these comments are from pranks. Like, it's a prank or a scam. Prank or scam. Prank or scam. Take your pick. Let's go for one more comment. Stormy Throws says, demonic impersonation. We actually have demons watching us all the time, and certain demons are assigned to us personally. Demons impersonate people a lot and account for some doppelganger stories. I believe that you were mimicked by an entity to get your parents and get them to come back for whatever reason. You stopped the demonic plan by providing the evidence that wasn't you, and they weren't talking to you. Oh, well, a bit far-fetched. Possible too, because you know I believe in the supernatural, 111, 333, all that shit. But you know, you gotta use your discernment and your logic. Let's see. Here's an interesting comment. I know I keep on saying the last comment, but this truly is the last one. Carl Grove says, as an alternative to glitch, scam, and fiction, is it possible that you have an enemy somewhere? Someone who knows you well enough to do a good imitation of your voice and knows your family, and who you might have a motive for causing mayhem in your life. Insidious, I see. So they're talking about maybe you have an enemy out there that's trying to get to you, but not let it be known that they're just fucking with your life. Because imagine the thousands of dollars they would have lost just by doing that. So let me see here. I have 2 more stories because, you know, gotta make this video go with a bang, right? So our next story is from Katie Williams, 11. Remember, I just said 11, 11, and 11's everywhere. But let's go on to the story. I had to make a Reddit just to reply. My friend sent me this post on Instagram because it reminds me of her so much. These 2 stories I had told her about myself. I know I read that wrong, but get with me. Story 1. I was talking to one of my best friends over the phone, and she had to go and call me back. I used that time to use the restroom, and when I was coming back to my bedroom, I saw my phone was ringing. I went to grab it, but instead, it already stated 1 missed call. Ooh. I called her back and she asked, "Why did you change your voicemail?" And I was instantly confused. I continued to explain that I haven't changed it, and I was asking what she meant. She responded, "Yeah, you did. And it was your voice, and your voicemail said, 'Hi, you've reached 555 555 5555. Call Justin tomorrow. Okay, bye." My regular voice didn't have a phone number in it. My regular voicemail didn't have a phone number in it. It had my name. Justin was her boyfriend at the time, and she did end up calling him the next day, and although it ended up being insignificant, he did have something he had been wanting to tell her. When she recalled my phone, my voicemail was back to being the same. Woof! I'm so curious on how that story ended, but she left us with a nothing burger there. But okay, we will go further. She has 2 more stories. Well, 1 more story. Let's hope it doesn't end the same way as the first one, okay? This has been several months apart at this point. I tried calling a different friend one night. She didn't answer, so I started playing Guitar Hero. During the song, I could see that she was calling me back, but wanted to finish it first, the game. She's talking about the game. She left me a voicemail, but all I could hear was buttons being pressed. I called her back and she answered with, "What were you talking about?" And I was instantly confused. When I reiterated that I never answered the phone, my friend started to get creeped out and confused. I had to keep repeating, "Just tell me what you're talking about." Eventually, she told me, "You answered the phone," and told me to go look at my text messages, and then just started laughing. And she kept saying it was my voice and my laugh. So essentially, the voicemail I truly listened to, which was all the buttons being pressed, was her listening to the instructions I had given her. There wasn't anything in her messages though. And once again, when she recalled, my voicemail was back to being normal. Both occurrences had happened when I was a teenager, late middle school, early high school age. There were also 2 different cell phones. The common denominator is that I was in my childhood home, and in the evenings I have had other paranormal events that happened there, but my family claimed that they never have. They just threw it under the rug. They just threw it under the rug. No, we're not haunted. Move on, people. Move on, people. I've also haven't had any experiences since early high school. I guess after they moved, possibly. Just wanted to share that you aren't alone, as I haven't read to be post about this similar story, so I came across this one day, but I haven't looked too much into it since. So yeah, there it is. Maybe there's something sinister going on behind the days. You know, they're always saying it's end times, you know. Well, who knows what will happen. Commenter, the Wood Witch. That's an interesting name after these stories. Would have been interesting if the message had woken you up and you had text your sister back while the double was still on your phone to your dad. Oh, that's to the other story. Oh, damn. It looks like the way she ended this story, like nobody wanted to comment on it and only 4 people uploaded it. It is what it is. But I have another story from Bones_. underscore cnode 525. I kind of had a similar thing happen, except I think I was talking to my alternate self, and he was talking back to me. Twist! I'll try to give the shortest story with as much information as possible, but I also have it all recorded as proof. As crazy as that might seem, that's pretty crazy, and like they don't have a link, so how can we believe them? Oh yeah, I got a recording. Yeah, you didn't leave the link. So we're going to leave this on plausible. Anyway, it all started last night. I have two phones. One's my main phone, and the other one is the one I use to make music and record audio because it has an audio jack. And the newer phones just don't. Apple, I'm talking to you. So what happened was I just got finished making an outro for the song, and I was excited to let someone hear it. So I hooked up my music phone up to the Bluetooth speaker, and I pulled out my real phone and started to record. Immediately after speaking, I noticed my voice was echoing out the speaker and that my other phone was connected to it. That was very strange because my music phone wasn't hooked up to the mic, and the music track that I had that was on wasn't playing yet, nor was it recording. So that was kind of weird. Yeah. And I was really recording a video on my main phone, so I got off my bed and walked over towards the speaker and was talking to it. I was mostly saying like, what the fuck and stuff like that, and the echo got super loud, and I heard my voice come out of the speaker and say, "Can you hear me?" Oh, that's scary. And that startled me because I never said that. Then I replied and I said, "Yes, what the fuck is going on?" Then I heard him say, "Help," very faint in the background. And at that time, I was shaking so bad that after the recording ended, I didn't want to record anymore because I was honestly scared, truly scared. I would be scared too, dude. If anyone has an explanation, that would be great. But I've tried to recreate what happened with no luck because my music phone only records audio when you push record. But even then, it doesn't output the audio while you're recording it. Plus, I don't even have a mic hooked up. So honestly, I can't explain what happened there. Not at all. Well, to turn on a radio and then play it and it connect to a phone that wasn't supposed to be connected to is weird in itself. But for your phone to say hi back, that is kind of scary. Pretty scary, y'all. I'm gonna just leave it at that. So those are our stories for today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and tap on that notification button so that you can be notified for my next video, guys. Remember, this is Kristen from Weird Reddit, and I'm gonna mix in some real stories with me reading, but just know there's gonna be some errors. I'm gonna try my best, but I got kids. Ciao, guys. Have a great day.